Hi everyone, welcome to my latest tutorial. Are you building a REST API with Django and struggling to handle large datasets without slowing your application down? Yeah. So in this video, I'm going to dive into Django REST Framework, where I'm going to be showing us how to handle pagination. This is a game changer for creating fast, user-friendly APIs. And within less than 30 seconds, you will learn how to split data into manageable chunks, boost performance, and make your API a breeze to navigate. So stick around to master pagination with practical examples. The last time we had our application running, and I think we had this well, and equally we had our products page returning whatever products we had right there. So in our focus today, we are going to look at how we can split this data. So you'll be able to return maybe 5 items per page or 100 items per page and so on. This is very important whenever we are trying to do things like accessing large amounts of data. Obviously, over time, your applications will have significant data, and you need to find a better way of accessing this instead of returning all these very many products to your system. One thing you'll notice, I think if you've been following along with my previous tutorials, I added here a couple of other products. So I had a script written that I executed. So I could add all these different products at once within my database. So you can have the same and add some products into your database, or manually keep adding them once you log into the admin site. Yeah, I hope you remember how to access the admin site. So you could access this, login, and add your products there. This was eng dev. Do I remember the password right? Okay. So you could add products manually by simply coming here and saying add a product. That's if at all you don't want to go with the other option I specified in my code. So we're going to be looking at Django REST Framework Pagination. So you could access this endpoint so that you could look at the documentation for Django REST Framework Pagination. See how best we are going to be applying this. So we have a couple of different ways to paginate. So we have the page number pagination, we have the limit offset, and we have the cursor pagination. So I'll be covering the first two in today's recording. So get time and go through the documentation, because it always has more information from which you could pick leave. So just as you can see here, REST framework includes support for customizing pagination styles and so on and so forth. So you could get time and go through this. So as I've mentioned, we are going to be looking at the page number pagination and the cursor pagination. And we shall be able to paginate this endpoint of products to return whatever we shall be wanting to return, 5 items per page, 4 items per page, and so on and so forth. So let's dive into what we have to be doing as of now. So I'll first demonstrate this on a single view, then you shall see how best we can write our function so that we use it in multiple places, so we don't have to keep rewriting it. So we make it reusable, in other words. Okay, so we shall start by obviously importing the paginate of preference. So I'll come here and import my pagination. So from REST framework dot pagination, we shall import the page number pagination, just like that. So after importing this, you can come to where you want to use this from. So in my case, I want to use it on the products. So I'll come inside here in the method of get. I'll create my paginator instance. So my paginator is going to be equals to my page number pagination. So after specifying this, I can create the page size I want to return for each of these items. So I'll come and say my paginator dot the page size is equals to maybe 5. So when I say 5, ideally I mean I want to return 5 items per page. 5 items per page. So after specifying that, I have to come and paginate now this query set I've received. Yeah. So I could say maybe my paginated products, obviously we shall need to pass this query set to it. So I'll come and say my paginated products is equals to my paginator dot paginate query set. So I'm going to pick out paginate query set. So inside paginate query set, I have to pass to it 2 things. The query set I need to paginate, which is going to be my products I've retrieved from my query, then equally the request parameter. Now, after doing that, we need to pass this paginated products to our serializer. So what I'm going to do is, I'm simply going to pass whatever I've paginated to the serializer, just like that. And eventually, I need to return. So this time round, I'm not returning this response. I'm going to return my paginated products. So I'll comment out that, and I'll come and say return. And I'll say my paginator dot get paginated response. Then I'm going to pass to it my serializer dot the data. And that's it. So we have successfully implemented a paginator that is utilizing the pagination. In other words, a user can say, I want to move to page 1, I want to access products of page 2, page 3, page 4, and so on and so forth. Now let us look at the output for this, see how best it's performing. Now I'll come back to my endpoint, obviously, that was initially returning all the products I had in the database. Then I will refresh this. Perfect. I think you see we now have our paginated response. We have a count of 22 items in our database. And as of now, we are ideally seeing page 1. So our next page is going to be a query parameter of page is equals to 2. And we don't have a previous page. And these are the results for this particular endpoint. So there are 5 in number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Why 5? Because I specified here that I need 5 items per page. Now I could go and see page 2. I think you see we have now page 2, and we now have a previous page and a next page and a previous page. So you can simply keep navigating all the way to the end page. So once you reach the end, on our previous page, now we don't have a next page and we have a previous page right there. So this is very, very simple implementation of pagination. And when you do this, you're able to return to ensure that your API performs better, faster loads and all that. Now you might ask yourself, okay, fine, we have been able to paginate for products. How about if I had other things like blogs? How do I paginate blogs? So will I have to keep writing the same code, the same everything to everywhere? And the answer is no. That's why I said we shall be learning how to write a script that will have a function that you shall export or import in whatever places you want to consume it from. Now let's move to that approach and see. I'll be creating a file inside my default application, and I'll call it a utils file. So utils.py. So inside here, I'm going to import obviously the pagination again, that is the pagination. So I'll say from REST framework dot pagination import the page number pagination. Then I'll create my function that I'm going to be using. So I'll call it paginate query set. And this is going to expect all the different parameters I might need for me to be able to perform a pagination. Things like the page size, things like the serializer, the query set, and the request. So I'll pass those all as parameters to this function I'm writing. So first parameter will be the query set of interest. The second parameter is going to be the request. The third parameter is going to be the serializer class I'm going to be using, serializer class. And the last one is going to be the page size. So I've passed all parameters to this, and I could specify a default page size of maybe 5. So after doing that, I'll come now and start writing my pagination. So I'll say my paginator is going to be equivalent to the pagination. Then I'll specify the page size. So paginator dot the page size, and I'll say this is equivalent to the page size that we shall pass to the function as an argument. Then I'll create my paginated query set. So QS will stand for the query set, and this is going to be the paginator dot paginate query set. Then I'll pass to it the query set and the request. So after doing that, we need to create our serializer, obviously. So our serializer is going to be equivalent to now the serializer class. Then we shall pass to it what we have paginated, the paginated query set. Then we tell it that main is equals to true. We expect more than a single item, so just don't return for us an object, but rather a list of items inside. So this is paginated query set, just like that. Then eventually we need to return. So we shall have a return statement. So inside the return, I'll simply say my paginator dot get paginated response. Then we shall pass to it our serializer and we pick out the data from this. Now, this is a reusable function that we can use at any one point whenever I want to paginate any data from any kind of view. So back to the views file, we need to import this file, so we use it there. So I'll come to the views, then I'll come and import it up. So I'll say from the current folder .utils, we shall import. This is going to be, we called it paginate query set, right there. So one thing you note about my editor is it's not identifying this file. I recently updated my VS Code, so I'm not really sure why that is happening, but probably let me just restart it and we see whether we shall have the same issue. So just restart this, see whether we shall have the same issue. Okay. So I believe this is going to be rectified. It's going to find my file. So let's continue as it loads our files. So
inside the products, now I am going to get rid of what I had written initially, yeah, because I have now written a function that I'm going to be using. So that means I don't need this, I don't need this, and I don't need equally this. And equally, I don't need this, and I don't need this. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to return this that I've imported. Yeah, it has now loaded. So equally, I don't need this import statement because I now using it in the other file. So I'll come and say, we are going to return our paginate query set. So inside here, we need to pass to it the query set, which is going to be our product. Then we pass a comma, then we pass to it the request as the second argument. Then we need to pass to it the serializer class. So this is going to be the product serializer. And eventually how many items you want to return per page. We specify the default value of 5. So if I don't add it there, then obviously our request is going to still return the same 5 items per page, as you can see. But if I come and say, okay, I want to override the default value of 5 to now 10 items. So if you look at our endpoint, it has 22 products, so we shall have 3 pages. So let me refresh this. So this is the first page, and we have 10 items, as you can see. So I'll go to the next page. We shall have again 10. The last page will have just 2 items to make a total of 22 that we have there. And as you've seen, this is really a much better approach than having to have all our code written in each function that we are writing. Now, this is for the page number. We also have the limit offset. So with the limit offset, you could again look at its documentation, but ideally in here you specify the start point and the number of items you want to return. Yeah, so it has the offset and the limit, the offset and the limit. So we are going to equally look at this and see how it operates. Okay, so back to our script. I'm going to maintain this same file and I'm going to create another function inside, which is going to be ideally performing pagination for the limit offset. Again, you could make this a variable where somebody is able to specify, maybe I want to use the limit offset, or I want to use the limit offset, or I want to use this is what, the page number. So you can leave this available so that somebody can specify what they want to use within their query set. So maybe you'll try doing that. Let me create just a different function here. So I'll say this is paginate query set, and I'll call this the limit offset. Limit offset. So obviously for the limit offset, we simply need the query set, the request, and the serializer class as the parameters we shall be passing to the function. So I don't need this page size, so I could remove that. Then equally I don't need this. Then I'll have to import it here. So this is going to be the limit offset pagination. Then it's what I'm going to use at this point as my paginator. So this is going to be the limit offset pagination. And the rest is going to be the same, just like the others. So to use the limit offset, I'll simply come here, go back to my views, and equally import it. So this is going to be the limit paginate query set limit offset. Then I'll change that inside my function. So I'll come to down here where I had where is products, where I had paginate query set. I'm going to say paginate query set, then limit offset. Then I need the product serializer past, the products and the request, and I'll get rid of the last value. So just like that. So if you now come and refresh your page, let me remove this, refresh there. So we're having this issue. Okay, so we have this error. This is basically coming in because we haven't set the limit and the offset. Now in development, you never want your code to crash, but let us address this. So I could come here and copy out this. I limit my products. So I could say limit this. I want 10 products starting from the second item. Yeah. So we shall have this being returned. Yeah? So you've said 10 products, and this will be 10 starting from product at this particular position. So I could say return just any number of products, maybe 3 or maybe 2. Really depends on the query you want. Yeah. So this is the limit offset. So we have this issue, and during development, you never really want your code to crash. So how are we going to address this? You can address this by using exceptions. Yeah, you try doing something and you expect something. So let us see how best you can correct this, and we close the chapter for how to paginate. So I'll come to my utils. So I never want this to crash. So I'll say, let us first check, what if our query set is none? So I could say, if my query set is none, then you could return a response. So let us import response. So this is going to be from REST framework dot response, import response. Import the response, then you shall come and return here a response. Obviously, you also need to attach a given status code. So from REST framework, import status, just like that. So our response here is going to be some kind of an object. Yeah? So I could say we have some kind of error, a dictionary, which is going to be scalations, a string method, a string equivalent of this dictionary I'm writing in here. So we shall have our query set is maybe empty. Then we attach to this a given status code. Obviously, this is going to be a bad request. So our status is going to be a status dot with the bad request there. So how about if that has passed? We now come and implement our exception handling here. So we shall try doing something. So we shall try obviously getting we can now create our pagination inside here. Yeah, we could maybe put this paginator above. Then inside our try, we start from our paginated response. So we try getting this, and if that is okay, we do the serializer and return all this information. How about if that fails? We now move to the exception, and we shall say except an exception as some kind of error that you're going to capture. Then we come and return again. So return a response of whatever exception that we captured. So again, this is going to be our error together with the error message. So we are going to put in a pagination error here. Pagination error together with the actual error that we received. So I'll put my bracket there and I'll pass in my error. Let me call this as error. And this is going to be a formatted string. Yeah. So now with this new addition, we are able to avoid this kind of screen. We are able to catch the error. So I'll put here my status, which is equally going to be a bad request. Status dot bad request. So let me now refresh this. Wow, I think you can see the error. This is a limit offset pagination, and we say the object has no attribute count. So this is much better than having the other screen that was really flooded with a lot of stuff to read. So always implement exception handling in all blocks of code that you ever write. So you could also implement the same for this one. Yeah, you can try that out later on during your practice for pagination. Okay, so having said that, I hope you will be able to perform pagination on the different kinds of projects that you're going to be working on, and let me wish you the best of your practice in learning with Code of Hope. Yeah, stay blessed.